So, the Indiana Fever just signed somebody. I'm kind of surprised the Indiana Fever signed somebody, like, today. So, they signed someone to a 7-day contract, which means, did they waive somebody? Did the Fever not have to waive somebody to do that? Which means somebody's probably getting waived.
The moment we've all been dreading, but deep down, secretly expecting, has finally arrived. The Indiana Fever are officially shopping for Caitlyn Clark's replacement, and they're not even making an effort to hide it. This isn't just a keeping our options open move, it's a flashing neon sign that Indiana knows something the rest of us don't. And if they're already thinking about life after Clark, that means the cracks might be bigger than anyone's willing to admit.
Finding another point guard. And my brain goes two different ways on this. Either one, the Fever weren't so happy with Odyssey Sims' performance in her first game with the Indiana Fever. And I think a lot of fans were underwhelmed. However, Odyssey Sims had a high bar to clear because Ari McDonald, when she came to the Indiana Fever, she immediately made an impact and played great right away. Odyssey Sims did not have a great game in that last game whatsoever. And so are they signing her to challenge Odyssey Sims and see who plays better? Or are they signing her because they know that Caitlyn Clark is not going to be returning this season and they're going to need another point guard for this last stretch of games and going into playoffs?
They've signed not one, but 2 point guards in the span of a single week. First came Odyssey Sims on a so-called hardship contract, and if that doesn't sound like corporate speak for we're in deep trouble, I don't know what does. Then, as if to hammer the point home, they grabbed another ball handler just days later. That's not depth building, that's panic shopping. You don't load up on insurance policies unless you're worried the main driver's about to step out of the car.
Into this, the Indiana Fever welcome Kyra Lambert to the team. Another point guard with Sydney out, with Ari out, with Caitlyn Clark's return. Who the heck knows at this point? We need some point guards on this team. Odyssey Sims, she played this past Tuesday, looked like she haven't picked up a basketball in months. Now we go out and get Kyra Lambert.
Then, just days later, they inked Kyra Lambert to another 7-day deal. 2 point guards in a single week. 2 desperate, stopgap moves that scream panic. And the reality is impossible to ignore. The Fever are clearly bracing for life without Caitlyn Clark, and the frightening part? It doesn't look like they expect her back anytime soon. Every move they're making signals contingency planning, not confidence, a team quietly admitting that their franchise player might not return to full strength this season, if at all.
Lambert has never played in the WNBA before, yet the Fever did have room to add another player on a hardship deal. So Lambert, it was announced by the team, has been brought in. This is what the press release itself says, so I'll let them set the context for you. The Indiana Fever have signed guard Kyra Lambert to a 7-day contract the team announced today. The Fever qualify for the roster spot due to the injuries to Sydney Colson and Ari McDonald. Lambert has spent the entirety of her professional career playing in Europe, most recently with Olympiacos, where she won the Greek A1 League. During that season, Lambert averaged 15.4 points per game while shooting 42.1% from beyond.
If you are enjoying, please subscribe. Here's the uncomfortable truth nobody wants to say. Caitlyn Clark has missed 21 games this season. 21. That's not a minor setback, that's a body screaming a warning she's been ignoring. She's battled injuries since the opener, first a quad strain that sidelined her for weeks, then a left groin injury, and now a right groin issue keeping her on the bench like a spectator at her own career.
So they have signed a player from overseas in shocking development. Now they had no European players on the team, and look like the Indiana Fever new player did speak to the media earlier today. We got some of that footage. Let's roll it.
This opportunity that'd be coming for you.
Officially Monday. Yeah, Monday, so it was a pretty quick turnaround.
Take me through the emotions of that day, knowing that this was coming your way and that you'd have a chance to play on a team that might need you to play right away.
Yeah, no, I was super excited. It's a blessing, having the journey that I've had and just, remaining faithful, trusting God and doing the work and just to see it all come back around.
Here's the kicker. Before this season, Clark had never missed a game due to injury, in college or pro. Not once. She was basketball's Iron Woman, a player you could set your watch by. Now? She's collecting injuries like trading cards, each one worse than the last. Coach Stephanie White's official line, "We're taking it day to day, putting no timetable on it." Translation, they have no idea when, or if, she'll return at full strength. White even admitted Clark hasn't practiced yet, still stuck doing full court running like she's rehabbing from major surgery.
As Caitlyn Clark fans, this is a nasty position to be in. We're dealing with the Indiana Fever telling us that Caitlyn Clark is day to day, and we know the Indiana Fevers, Amber Cox, Kelly Crosskoff, Stephanie White are all liars. We can't believe anything the Indiana Fever say, and we know that. So we have the Fever saying Caitlyn Clark.
Want to see just how bad this really is? Let's talk numbers, because they tell a story far harsher than any injury report. Since Clark went down, WNBA viewership has dropped 55%. The Indiana Fever's national TV ratings? Down 53%. Games that once drew 1.8 million viewers are now struggling to barely hit 847,000. The financial impact is even more brutal. Ticket prices for Fever road games have plummeted 47% to 71%, depending on the matchup. The Chicago Sky game that was supposed to be a marquee showdown? Ticket prices fell from $86 to $25 after Clark's injury was announced. That's not just a dip, it's a full-blown free fall off a financial cliff. Fans aren't just staying home, they're voting with their wallets. And right now, the Fever are paying the price for losing the one player who keeps the stands full, the cameras rolling, and the headlines coming.
Caitlyn Clark's injury is tanking WNBA ticket prices. The star Indiana Fever guard suffered a quad injury and is expected to miss at least 2 weeks. This comes on the heels of the WNBA and other teams moving games into larger arenas to accommodate Caitlyn's fans. And as sports fans, I think we all know that Caitlyn Clark is the most popular women's basketball player. In fact, she might be one of the most popular female athletes in the entire world. Ever since she burst into the national consciousness, women's basketball has experienced a rise in popularity. But is it Caitlyn? Or is it women's basketball? Per Front Office Sports, get-in tickets for the Fever's rivalry game against the Chicago Sky on June 7th are down 71% from $86.
Even the WNBA All-Star Game, held in Clark's home market of Indianapolis, took a hit without her. Ratings dropped 35%, drawing 2.19 million viewers, far short of the 3.44 million who tuned in when Clark played the year before. The league tried to spin it as the second most watched All-Star game ever, conveniently comparing it to 2023 instead of 2024. Why? Because the truth is glaring, the league depends on one injured player more than it wants to admit.
35%! WNBA ratings down, All-Star game 35% than last year. Yet you're telling me that it doesn't have to do with Caitlyn. 35%. It really makes it difficult for fans of the WNBA in general and Caitlyn Clark, like myself, to have conversations, to join a Discord, just to I don't know, want to just talk up the WNBA in general, when you can't even give Caitlyn the props that she deserves.
Let's address the elephant in the room nobody wants to talk about. The referees and the league's failure to protect their biggest star. All season, Clark has been targeted with brutal, physical play that would make even NBA veterans flinch. She's been fouled 46 times, ranking third in the league for most fouls received. But here's the shocking part. Out of 30 flagrant fouls called across the entire WNBA this season, 5 were against Clark. That's nearly 17% of all flagrants aimed at a single player. One player. And the Chicago Sky? They're responsible for 4 out of those 5, 80%. The most infuriating part? Clark has had to confront officials just to get basic protection. She was even caught on camera threatening to call the league office about referee Michael Price. Can you blame her? When you're getting poked in the eye, shoved after dead balls, and body checked like it's the NHL, and the refs shrug it off as normal play, you'd lose your mind too.
The league has fostered a hostile workplace for Caitlyn Clark through excessive fouling, targeting and hostile comments from other players and owners. These aren't isolated, they're documented, continuing, and ignored by officials. The disparity in treatment invites real scrutiny. Not a single player has been suspended for flagrantly fouling Ms. Clark. Here's where he said a federal investigation should take place. Congress and the admin should demand answers from the W, its leaders, investigate officiating and internal league comms, hold hearings, and insist on real reforms. The Labor Department should review league protocols for workplace safety. If evidence shows discrimination or retaliation, the DOJ's Civil Rights Division.
This isn't just rough play. It's a coordinated effort to intimidate, even injure, the league's biggest star. The evidence is glaring. Marina Mabrey shoved Clark to the ground after a dead ball and got nothing more than a technical. J.C. Sheldon poked her in the eye going for the ball, and it was called a mere flagrant one. Even WNBA legend Candace Parker admitted what everyone already knew: when you are a generational talent, you're gonna experience the physicality. The scouting report is to stop you. But there's a difference between tough defense and assault with a basketball as a prop. When comedians are analyzing the game better than the people getting paid to cover it, you know something is seriously broken.
Ask about people being a little physical with Caitlyn at that, her last game. Do you feel like she's being treated unfairly, in her games and stuff like that?
I think it's definitely star players aren't ever treated fairly.
Is that kind of what you went through? Because you're considered a legend. Is that just kind of normal about being the rookie? Is that part of it?
I think everybody has a different path. So I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. Take care.
So here we are, with the Fever making moves that scream emergency planning. First, they lost Sydney Colson and R.A. McDonald to season-ending injuries. Convenient timing, right? Just when they needed roster spots for more point guards, two players go down for the year. Then came the signings. Odyssey Sims, a 33-year-old league journeyman bouncing around like a pinball, averaging 9.8 points and 3.5 assists. Decent stats, but let's be honest, she's not Caitlyn Clark. Nobody is. She's just a warm body who can handle the ball and run plays, which apparently is all Indiana needs for now. Then Kyra Lambert gets added. Another 7-day contract. Another temporary fix to what's increasingly looking like a permanent problem. These aren't moves you make if you expect your franchise player back next week. These are moves you make when you're bracing for a future without her.
Now, I'm not exactly too sure where Kyra Lambert is, and I know what your reaction is. Kyra Lambert who? Kyra Lambert, minus the 2, divide by 3, add 4. Yeah, I didn't know who Kyra Lambert was. Kelly, she better be good. Amber, she better be good. That's all I'm going to say. She better come in and be impactful off the jump. That's all I'm going to say. She needs to at least pass the eye test. Okay, maybe she doesn't have a good game, but can she at least pass the eye test so when I watch her, I'm saying to myself, okay, I can see the vision. I can see where we hope that...
Here's what's really infuriating: the way the organization and the league are handling this situation. Instead of being honest about Clark's condition, they're stringing fans along with vague updates and non-commitments. Day to day. No timeline for return. Continuing to work with the medical team. Corporate speak for, we have no idea what's wrong or when she'll be back. Could you imagine if fans knew Caitlyn wouldn't play again this season? The viewership collapse we've already seen would look like a gentle decline compared to the mass exodus that would follow. The truth is, Clark hasn't looked right all season. Even when she has played, she's been a shadow of her rookie year self. Shooting 36.7% from the field and a dismal 27.9% from three-point range. On the road? She's 2 for 35 from downtown. Those aren't slump numbers, those are something is seriously wrong numbers.
But she's a 5'9" point guard who averaged 8 points per game in Greece? How shit must Odyssey Sims be? Nah, man, we're not doing this. Oh. I think we're done. I think we're done, man. I think the season's done. We got the 17th best point guard in Euro.
The WNBA has built its entire financial model around one player, and that player's body is failing her. The new $2.2 billion media rights deal that starts in 2026. That was negotiated based on the Caitlyn Clark effect. The expansion plans? The salary increases players are demanding? All of it hinges on the assumption that Clark will be healthy and dominant for years to come. But what happens when she's not? What happens when the player responsible for single-handedly carrying an entire league's viewership can't stay on the court? We're getting a preview right now, and it's ugly. Non-fever games are up 37% this season, which sounds impressive until you realize they're still averaging just 549,000 viewers. Her first season as a sophomore, no longer a rookie, ready to take the next step toward WNBA dominance. Instead, she's missed more games than she's played well, dealt with more controversy than championships, and looked more frustrated than fulfilled. The physical toll of being the league's main target has clearly gotten to her. When you're spending more time on the training table than the practice court, when you're dealing with officials who seem more interested in managing narratives than protecting players, when you're carrying the financial hopes of an entire sport while dealing with systematic targeting, something's got to give. The shooter who redefined what was possible from three-point range can't buy a bucket. The floor general who made everyone around her better is sitting in street clothes, watching her team sign replacement after replacement.
I do think that Caitlyn Clark's healing can't come soon enough, and looking at the bright side of things, there is still a month left of the season, and I do think that the Indiana Fever are still in a good position, and they can take this, and they can turn things around. I think that what Stephanie White has done with the team, given all of the adversity that has happened, is pretty incredible. But I don't want to mince words because I don't necessarily see Kyra Lambert as coming in and saving the day for the Indiana Fever. Now, Lambert did win the Greek League Championship and was the Euro Cup Guard of the Year. So there's a plus.
Look at what the Fever have actually done, not what they've said. They've signed 2-point guards in a week. They've restructured their offense to function without their best player. They've started planning rotations that don't include Clark. They've already moved on, even if they won't admit it publicly. Coach Stephanie White keeps talking about taking things slow, being cautious, prioritizing Clark's long-term health. The Indiana Fever's recent signings aren't preparation for Caitlyn Clark's return, they're preparation for her absence. Everything about this situation screams long-term problems. The vague injury updates, the multiple point guard signings, the complete lack of a concrete timeline, and most tellingly, Clark's own body language when she's shown on camera.
I would say August 24th, maybe, one of the two games against Minnesota, I could see. And then you've got her for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games after that. My God, she's going to end up playing in what, 20 games this year, something like that. Right off the top of my head, I can't think of how many games she's actually missed, but it's a bunch. It's a bunch.
She doesn't look like someone who's eager to get back on the court. She looks like someone who's dealing with the reality that her body might not be able to handle what the WNBA has become, a league where being the biggest star means being the biggest target. The refs caused this. The aggressive play caused this. The systematic targeting caused this. And now we're all dealing with the consequences. A league desperately trying to maintain viewership while its biggest draw sits on the sideline, a franchise signing replacement players like they're auditioning understudies, and fans being fed a steady diet of false hope. The Indiana Fever's signings make perfect sense once you accept the uncomfortable reality: Caitlyn Clark isn't coming back, at least not as the player we remember. And deep down, everyone involved knows it. They're just hoping we'll keep watching long enough for them to figure out what comes next. But here's the thing about hope: eventually, reality catches up. And when it does, we'll all look back at these signings as the moment we should have known the truth. The Caitlyn Clark era might be over before it ever really began.